look in the mirror, man, you're so dirty. Yeah, you look so dirty. You were never worthy. Lately, it's you.
Welcome to the Jeremy Hill Show. If you're easily triggered, leave now, because this is not the show for you. Now, what I'm going to talk about right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about the movement called Men Going Their Own Way. And I'm also going to talk about a little bit of the feminist movement. I'm going to have a lady up here who's going to make some very good points, okay, because she's really against feminism. But the point she makes is very interesting. I'm going to have some facts, data, and statistics in this reaction video. So let me go ahead and get started and put on your screen right quick. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. About to tear it apart right quick.
Please subscribe, like the video, thumbs up, and let's get started. So I don't think that anyone is denying that feminism and the Me Too movement have caused, I think if we were to do an autopsy, right? If we were to do a history autopsy as to what that movement really did. You know, unfortunately, as a woman, I absolutely have been sexually harassed in the workplace. It was uncomfortable. It was my first job. I was 21 years old and it sucked. There was absolutely no ramifications or punishment for the person that did it, and thus the Me Too movement was not a thing. It wasn't around at the time. Now, do I think that it has swung to the opposite extreme? 100%. I've seen men who have done nothing. I've seen men that have placed a hand on a woman's back and have been called into HR. I've seen lies women have told. Men have lost their jobs because of it.
Okay, I want to jump in right there about the lies that women have told about being sexually harassed or also being sexually assaulted, okay? We're going to get deep into this right quick. Hold on 1 second. I got to pull up the statistics for this. Now, when I make this video, this is not to belittle anyone who's actually been victims of sexual assault. What I'm doing is standing up for the men who were lied upon, who had their lives ruined because of an accusation that was later found out in life to be not true. Men have been exonerated because of this. Men have spent decades in prison until DNA proof have come out and said, yeah, this man never was a part of any sexual assault. By then, they're aged about 60 years. So let me go ahead and put this on the screen for you. I did, okay. Let me read it to you now. This comes from the CPI Center for Prosecutor Integrity, okay? That's the source that I'm citing from. Now, it says, in Washington, December 17, 2020, a recent national survey conducted by YouGov reveals 8% of Americans reportedly being falsely accused of domestic violence, child abuse, sexual assault, or other forms of abuse. The 2,407 survey respondents were representative of the U.S. adult population. The 8% figure represents 20.4 million adults. In 62 cases, the false accusers were reported to be females. Often, the female allegation was made in the context of child custody dispute, and that made up 27% of cases. Why is that? Because you'll see that a whole lot, man, where women would try to get the child, and they'll try to make the man look like a boogie monster or a pervert, so they will lie. Now, another statistic, it says 4 in 10 think women lie about being victims of sexual assault. 4 in 10 Australians, that's 42%, think sexual assault accusations are a way of getting back at men, according to the 4th National Community Attitude Survey on Violence Against Women. Okay? Now, this comes from the court. That's my next source. This says, let me make it bigger. Excuse me. It says, this may be hard to believe, especially considering that RAPE is a felony punishable with years in prison. However, to start with this worst case scenario, it's exceedingly rare for a false sexual assault allegation to end in prison time, according to the National Registry of Exoneration. Since records began in 1989 in the U.S., there are only 52 cases where men convicted of sexual assault was exonerated because it turned out they were falsely accused. By way of comparison, in the same period, there are 790 cases in which people were exonerated for murder, deleting people. Now, look at this one. This comes from CNN.com. It said, nearly 5 decades after he was wrongfully convicted of sexual assault in New York, new DNA testing exonerates 72-year-old man. 5 decades, y'all. That's 50 years of a lie keeping you separated from your family and your friends. 5 years of a woman who lied about you sexually harassing or sexually assaulting her. Okay? Leonard Mack walks with his wife Mary after his 1975 sexual assault conviction is overturned at the Westchester County Courthouse in White Plains, New York on September 5th, 2023. This just happened not long ago. Now, what do I mean by this, man? Why I'm saying this? Because I had a friend that went through that. He was in the military, and this woman was a Japanese woman, and he was knocking her up, busting her back out, right? Hitting it. And then her husband found out. She said that she was a victim of sexual assault too. But when she got to court, the lawyer, his lawyer, was a good lawyer, pressed her, and the truth came out that she was lying about that because she didn't want to lose her husband. She didn't want her husband to think that she was a hoe that was cheating on her. Women do lie about that, okay? Some of you say, oh, it's only 10% out of 100. Well, 10% out of 1,000 is 100, all right? And 10% out of 1 million is 100,000, right? Each one of those numbers represent a life. Like that gentleman, Leonard Mack, he went away for 5 decades, 50 years. So you can just say only one person lied on. Just only one person went through that, but there were 50 years taken from one man. This is a very serious issue, man. Let's get back to the clip. I just woke up, y'all, not long ago.
So, right, the tensions are very high because now it's believe all women, hashtag. I mean, I can't believe that hashtag even exists. Like, there's literally a hashtag that says believe all women, when really we don't take into account women who have BPD or narcissistic personality disorder or any of those.
That is true. Some of these women lie because they have BDP, which is bipolar, bipolar disorder, or they fucking nuts. That's basically what it is. And then some of them don't have none of that. They're just vindictive, and spiteful, and mean-hearted, mean-spirited, okay? That will lie on men.
All women, when really we don't take into account women who have BPD or narcissistic personality disorder or any of those personality disorders that could contribute to a woman just flat out lying to ruin a man. So I really do think that we are in a very, very, very weird time when it comes to men and women. The tensions couldn't be higher. So men are really being forced, some of them, into this part of the world and this part of the internet where they're having to make some decisions. I can either put myself in the line of fire after a divorce. I was taken advantage of. All these things happened. I gave my life to a woman, and they're just basically checking out. But I don't necessarily think they're checking out on themselves, because a lot of these men are getting their fitness in check. They're working. They are focused on their career. They're not dating anymore because it was terrible for them. So they're good. Like, they're not necessarily missing women because they can either pay for it or they can get their needs met other ways, but they're missing kind of the drama that some women can bring. And I don't think...
Exactly. Modern marriage is bullshit now. You know what I mean? Like, unless you get the right woman. Marriage is a divine institution, of course, but if you got it with the devil, if you married to a woman that's full of shit, drama-filled, insecure, jealous, that's a bad way to be, man, because then she gonna definitely try to take all your stuff, all the stuff that you worked hard for, and some of you say that ain't a big deal. If you lose all that stuff in your 20s, you might can get some of that back, maybe 80% of that stuff back that you lost in a divorce. But if you're a man that's in your 50s and 60s, the chances of you getting that shit back is like 0 to none. Because your prime year is almost out of there, you know what I mean? So you're gonna be wanting to retire pretty soon. So for you to go back and get all the stuff that you accumulated in your 20s and stuff like that, that's out the window. So it is a big deal. It's an extreme big deal. So you got to be careful with these women. You got to really vet these women. You got to find out the relationship with their mama and daddy. You got to find out, their credit score. You got to find out if they have any damn trauma bonds. There's a lot of stuff now. Shit. Now you got to find out these days if the woman that you seeing was actually born a woman, or was it a man who had an operation and then said, "Hey, I'm a woman." There's a lot of stuff you got to figure out now. So getting women from different cultures is one of the best ways to do it. Going overseas is one of the best ways to do it, because there are some women here, though, that come from there who are not, westernized, that stay in their own communities when they get here. You might be able to get one of them. But a lot of these women that have these westernized mindsets and stuff, they're lost cause. They're only good for sex. I'm telling you, sex and drama. That's pretty much what you get them for now.
I think that they're necessarily very sad about it. And I don't blame some of them. Society keeps reminding them that the future is female, that women are being pushed to attend STEM schools. I was given jobs over male counterparts because at one point, as a female, I was considered a diversity and equity and inclusion person, which, okay.
That is like another form of discrimination if you think about it. You're only getting a job, or should I say I'm not getting a job because this person is a woman. It doesn't mean that she's better qualified. It just means she has a different gender. You know what I mean? So it's kind of the same thing. So they are pissing all over men. Even though the men might be the best for the job, just because, they need a woman to make their corporation look better and stuff like that, they're going to put a woman there that is less qualified than you.
Right? Like we have even things out. I was hired for a job that there were 50 men in the sales force, and I was the number 2 female. So we did have to go through this time where things kind of even themselves out. But it's almost as if now women are like reveling in the power of that and reveling in the fact that it's like there can't be equality. It's now I have to put a man down. I have to be better than a man in order to have power, or in order to feel that this movement and feminism and all of this is worth it. It seemed to have gotten so hostile. And women, I think some women have contributed to that. There was this women's march video that people were slamming sticks and, chanting, and it almost looked like a group of men. It looked like a parade of men just stomping around.
It's because women have dropped and abandoned their femininity to pick up masculine traits. That's why it looked like that. It's uncouth. It's very bad for a woman to be loud, even in the scriptures, man. Even for those of you who say you're in the Bible, and even if you ain't in the Bible, I'll tell you something. There's nothing more disturbing than a loud ass woman. Okay? A woman beating on pans and shit, running around hollering and say, this ain't right. Yeah. No matter what it is, it doesn't fit them. That is, those are characteristic traits that fit men better, because we are thought of as sometimes savages or just real aggressive people. So that's more accepted for us because we are the protectors. We are the ones that conquer. So that's more like masculinity. A woman running around and say, yeah. That don't, you supposed to be shutting the fuck up. I mean, I know you don't want to hear that, but a quiet woman, a meek woman is greatly appreciated, man. There's power in femininity, but the problem is women don't know how to access their femininity, or they don't have the knowledge of how to use their femininity to get what it is they want. All they know how to do is manipulate people in other ways. They don't appreciate femininity. They appreciate and value masculinity more than their true nature, which is to be a feminine woman, so therefore they want to act more masculine. They want to be us. They say that they are the prize, but yet they want to mimic men. So how are you the prize if you want to be like us? If you want to talk like us, cuss like us, get tattoos like us, you want to get guns like us, you want to do everything that we do, and you want to sit back and say you the prize, but yet you always try to emulate men. So apparently the men are the fucking prize.
And I guess if you go back to the burning of the bras and the liberation of women, we accomplished those things. But now do I think that we need it? Now do I think that it's necessary? Now are men, kind of like going, what's going on? Okay, fine. If you don't need us, then good luck. Go ahead. Like, be a plumber, be an electrician, be a lineman, and go service the electrical lines outside, and good luck with that. I think, and women, if that was the world that we lived in, we would be absolutely screwed. So some things need to happen to try and get our men back. The divorce laws need to be changed. We need the prenups that people sign need to be upheld in court. There are some things that I think from a logical perspective, if any woman were to sit back and say, okay, what are the things that men are facing right now, and what are the reasons why they are potentially just taking themselves off of the market or not wanting to be around women at all, I'm not gonna lie, there's some things that I can understand and I can empathize with. And that's what I mean about the empathy gap, is that a lot of women have failed to realize that we can have empathy towards men while also...
The problem with empathy is you have to be a person that is not selfish. You can only experience empathy if you are selfless, okay? Because empathy means basically that you can put yourself in the shoes of someone else. You get what I'm saying? If you cannot put your shoes, hold on right quick. If you cannot put yourself in the shoes of someone else, then you cannot identify with what's going on with them. There's a difference. But see, how can I say it? There's a difference between sympathy and empathy. Empathy is when you feel something, you feel compassion for somebody's plight, their problem, and you actively get involved with that to try to change the circumstance that that person is going through. That is empathy. It could be whatever it is. Sympathy is that you understand that the plight is terrible. You feel sorry for them, feel sorry that they're going through that to an extent. It is a little bit of an emotional response to that. But sympathy doesn't allow you to get involved. You just look at a situation like, oh man, it's terrible that they're going through that, but shit, I can't do nothing about it. That's their life. I got my own problems and shit to deal with. That is sympathy. Empathy says, oh man, that's messed up that they're going through that. Let me see if I can give some type of attention to the problem that perhaps can relieve them of the situation that they're going through. That's empathy. Women today do not have empathy. They have more sympathy, if they have that at all, but they have more sympathy than they do empathy, because women would not become proactive in any type of situation unless that situation benefits them. Women today are very manipulative and they are very selfish. They are very self-centered. So without that ability to be empathetic to somebody, it's a lost cause. See, this is why a lot of these women are not good mothers, because they lack empathy. A good mother can sense when their child is going through something. A good wife can sense when her husband is going through something, and then the woman would want to get engaged with the problem. She want to bring some type of soothing to the man or to the children. Okay? You have women right now that's so selfish and shit, all they care about is the bag, that if they see you hurting, they be like, man up, just take it on the chin and shit, even to their children, because all they care about is themselves. Now, if they hurting, they get mad at you because you ain't come over with your empathy to try to fix the problem. That's the fucking problem with some of these women. Excuse me right quick. Let's get back to it.
Supporting them while also going to work and continuing, fighting for, I won't say pay gap because that's really not an issue, but whatever fight, I don't even know what feminists are fighting for anymore because I'm not a feminist. So I'm like, you do you ladies, keep fighting. But like, what feminist groups are fighting for men as well? Like very few. Now, the part of the story though that I want to tell you from a personal standpoint when it comes to me and where I was at after going through a series of bad breakups and going through some of the hardest times that I'd ever gone through, just disappointment in men, one after the other. I have been hurt by quite a few men. And what happens are two different things. Now, men, this is not meant to shame you, okay? So trust me when I say this. I am here, I am on your side, and I 100% understand where you are at. What I think happens though is the same thing that happens to women. Women will go through pain, right? They will go through heartbreak and be incredibly disillusioned when it comes to men. I went through a period of about 2 years where I didn't even want to be in the same room with men besides my family or my brothers because they couldn't hurt me. There are other times when I was just devastated and I didn't know what it was. I just thought, I'm done with men. I want nothing to do with them until I realized that I was picking the wrong men, that I was.
Bingo. That's what I was waiting for. She realized that she was the problem. Now keep in mind now this is accountability for a woman of any race to say, I was picking the wrong type of man. That's like saying I was the problem. You hear me? Now, before she came to that revelation, if you notice or not, first, she hated all men. You heard it for herself. Hold on. She said she didn't want to be in a room for 2 years. She didn't like no man. The only man she wanted to be around was her family members because she thought that they wouldn't hurt them, okay? But that means she was a bitter ass woman, an angry woman. See, there's a lot of women right now walking around who are just like her, bitter, angry because she's been hurt. That's their fault a lot of time. A lot because they choosing the wrong men. She did not become happier or get any type of peace of mind until she realized that she was the problem and it was her responsibility, okay? She was the issue. Out of all the men that she got, she always picked the wrong men. And that's the problem with the women, especially the black women today. Y'all are picking the wrong men. It's you choosing Pookie, Ray Ray, and Nook Nook. It's you attracted to those men. And after they do you dirty and treat you like crap, Now you hate all men, bad and good men alike. Until you realize that it's your fault, you will always be miserable. You will always don't like men. Okay? Until you realize it's you that's making this happen. Okay? Stop blaming all men when it's always been your fault. Well, he did this, he did that. Who put themselves in that position for X, Y, and Z to happen? You. And a lot of times, a lot of y'all have been warned about these men, but you choose to go forward with it anyway. A lot of times you already know what type of men you're dealing with, but you choose to go forward with it anyway. So it is your fault.
Devastated. And I didn't know what it was. I just thought, I'm done with men. I want nothing to do with them. Until I realized that I was picking the wrong men, that I was dating the wrong men, that I was putting myself in situations that were causing me pain, and I was choosing men that were ultimately going to hurt me. I think that a lot of men find themselves in this space because they have been devastated by women, and they have been hurt by the divorce court, and they have woken up and been with these women who have personality disorders, or who are narcissistic, or who are just highly disturbed, who have cheated on them, who have caused them so much pain, and they find themselves just absolutely desperate and absolutely just done 100%, like they just write it off. But you don't necessarily transcend, and that's okay. If you don't want to, I have no problem with that. There is nothing wrong with you. You absolutely have 100% agency to do whatever it is that you want. But at some point, there is self-reflection that has to happen. And for me, it was identifying, okay, these were the patterns. These were the traits that I was attracted to.
There you go. Now, when she said transcend, that's what men and women are like. That means you rise above the problem that you're going through. You can come out that, you can go ahead and get back on the dating scene if you want to, because men and women get hurt alike. Now, what I want to talk about is what she just said. She said she had to get to the point where she self-reflected and look at the patterns and the traits of the people that men, you got to do it too. We all got to do it. I'm going to tell you why. I tell people all the time, when it comes to the men, the bigger the booty, the bigger the problem sometimes. Because my experiences, I done had some fine women with some fat ass booties, but they be the most mentally deranged women I ever met. Okay? You got to look at the ones that you're attracted to. Now, you got to get you somebody that you are attracted to. I understand that. But perhaps some people with certain physical traits are not the ones you need to be with. You get what I'm saying? Because some people, how can I say this, man? A woman got to have a cute face for me. I don't mind a fat ass. I don't mind some breasts. But overall, if I can't get the big ass booty because there's too much problem and stress dealing with that woman, let me get a woman that has a nice fit body. You know what I mean? Just look good, cute in the face. I can deal with that. I am willing to sacrifice and leave a dime alone to get an 8. Because an 8 is a bad motherfucker too, but her personality and her demeanor may be so good that it makes her go up to a 10. Meanwhile, you trying to date this woman who's a dime, who's a 10, and her personality and the way she treats you is like it brings her down to a 2. So I've learned that. And the patterns, when she said the patterns, where are you meeting these type of motherfuckers? Are you meeting these motherfuckers on Instagram? Perhaps you need to stop trying to take women seriously on Instagram or Facebook when you try to DM them and shit like that. Look at what you're doing, gentlemen. Look at what you're doing, ladies. What are you doing that is putting you in positions of where you're meeting people like this? Look at your own patterns. Look at their patterns. What are they doing? What are they doing? This is also part of vetting. You get what I'm saying? Now, if you're just trying to get some booty, it don't matter. But if you're trying to get in a relationship, look at what you're doing. Okay? Let's get back into it. This woman had talked about a lot of good things. That's why I wanted to use her this morning.
These were some of the things that I would see in the early stages of a relationship with the men that I was dating. So what can I do moving forward to avoid these types of patterns? You know, right? When I started dating someone, it's like, what could I do when I started to see these things emerge? Because it was really me that didn't feel as though that I had power or self-agency over myself to make better decisions. So what happens is that women will find themselves in these, ultra feminist, ultra man-hating places on TikTok, places on social media and other places where they get validated, where they feel as though their pain, right, is justified, like they're
In other words, misery loves company. So these women like this deliberately look for other women who's been scorned, who's been treated like crap, who have negative views about men, who believe in the horrible propaganda and narratives about men. So they all go over there so they can lick each other wounds and say, look, yeah, men ain't shit. That's what she's saying to you.
that I had power or self-agency over myself to make better decisions. So what happens is that women will find themselves in these, ultra feminist, ultra man-hating places on TikTok, places on social media and other places where they get validated, where they feel as though their pain, right, is justified, like all men are narcissists. Literally, like that is where you go to the internet, where you find these women who are saying all men are narcissists. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of a joke, because I'm like, oh my God, I know where you were at, ladies. Like, let me bring you to the other side. Because are there assholes and bitches? Yes, there are mean people everywhere, right? Like, you're surrounded by that. But I think what happens is that you have so many bad experiences with the opposite sex, and then you find yourself just so angry and so bitter. And you may not be that. That might not be the reason. You might have just accepted that, you know what? I'm not going to play in the space with women. I'm not going to have a romantic relationship with a woman. It's not worth it. The pain is negligible, and I respect that.
See, that's what I wanted to show. I had to end that part right there. But yeah, so I hope you got a lot from this show today. She made a lot of good points, man. A lot of good points. I was surprised to find this lady, to be honest with you. Oh man, here we go with this again. My screen freezing up. I need to get a virus protector or something. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen, trying to work this out. Hold on. Oh wow, I'm frozen, y'all. Y'all still there? Okay, there it is. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Anyway, y'all take it easy now. You hear?